Hey everyone, Ben here and welcome to my first ever online race in VR on the channel. And what a combination that we've landed in, the Formula 4 fixed at Long Beach. What on earth could go wrong? I am already then underway starting in P11 and I'm holding my breath thinking about what's going to go down at T1. Thankfully, I've been able to get a little bit of space on track. It was a decent start, but I've got a bit of a gap to just judge what the cars up ahead are doing. One driver who's had a bit of a nightmare is the number one car. That's Luke. He's gone straight on at T1, so I will benefit from that as we go through the fountain for the first time. Really not a lot of room through here as the two drivers touch tyres as we come through then the right-hander, and this is all very intense in the cockpit, even more so in VR as I nearly get caught out through the right-hander, and that is going to allow a crucial overtake to happen. Look around my outside, that's Ferenc, and he's going to take the position here. I'm not going to fight him too hard. I don't want to get any contact, any damage on this opening lap, and unfortunately for me that is going to cost me as we get through this race, because I think I was on reasonable pace with Ferenc for a good fight. Now he's got that advantage up ahead. Will I be able to get him back? Well, we'll find out as this race progresses. For now, he's challenging for more positions up the road. I'm looking to spot my braking point into this final sector of the opening lap. One driver there really struggling to hit the apex. Ferenc is going to get another position into the final hairpin. I'm going to get checked up, and that is going to allow Miho Nurminen down my inside. A fantastically opportunistic move from him, and unfortunately for me, that's another position lost. On the other hand, because of other drivers making a mistake on that opening lap, I end up being still in P11 and crucially carrying no damage at the end of that opening lap. I'm chasing then Miho Nurminen down into T1. Can I get then some of those positions back that I've lost on the opening lap, try and get myself up into the top 10 as this race hopefully settles down? Well, we're not there yet because I've got a pack of cars just up ahead, and it only takes a small mistake from any of them as it looks like Nurminen just clipped the wall there, and as I come through the right-hander, the car very nearly loops around on me there. I struggle through that corner in this car. The car just gets unsettled on a bump on entry, and every time I don't really have confidence that I go through it and that I'm not going to end up in the wall. It's costing me time right the way throughout this race, but for now I'm just focused on the rear wing then of Nurminen. Again, he's getting dangerously close to that outside wall, and in fact I think I've got a run on him here. Am I going to be able to get around the outside then? Well, it's going to come down to who's braver on the brakes into this right-hander. Very difficult to stick and overtake through there, and unfortunately Nurminen is able to carry more speed, but he is a little bit slow through the left-hander and into the hairpin here. I've got to close off the inside because I'm getting some pressure from behind as well, but there's a big incident up ahead. A rear wing bouncing across the track. What on earth has gone on there? There's a huge gaggle of cars then just up the road, and at least one of them is carrying major damage as we all barrel down towards T1 here. Got to be vigilant. I'm anticipating there's going to be a big wreck, and there is. A driver flips nearly over the crash barrier there. Incredible stuff, and as we get into the fountain, there's more carnage. We basically have to come to a standstill, try and just skirt around the big incident on the inside there. I did make some contact. I'm hoping I'm not carrying too much damage, and this all began with a battle for P2 between Lau and Hu. We're following Lau in the Mercedes livery, and that move was just simply never on, and it causes a big concertina effect. Lots of drivers end up getting caught up in it, and it's actually Lau who loses his rear wing. However, everybody keeps on racing, and that is going to put lots of other drivers in danger here as Hu cuts across the track, trying still to hold on to his P2. There's more contact there that nearly puts Hu into the wall. Lau gets past, but of course he doesn't have a rear wing. Hu is caught out, and wow, that's a huge shunt into the tyres there. Lau still continuing the race. He gets tagged from behind, and well, the inevitable happens. There is another big pile-up as Lau got stricken at the fountain. Let's take one more look at the huge shunt into T1. Wow, that's a big crash. In real life, that would have been a really serious incident. As it is, we're in the sim, and I'm back on board here on lap 4. Now up into P8 and still chasing Nurminen to try and get up into P7. Now I feel like at this stage of the race, I've got a bit more pace than Nurminen. But of course at Long Beach, so difficult to execute a safe pass. Again there, look at that. I'm quicker through the fountain, but I just had nowhere to go, and I don't really want to follow super closely through this section of track. And in any case, I'm still struggling trying to find the right line through that right-hander to avoid the big bump and unsettle the car. And you can see visibly Nurminen is pulling a bit of a gap on me through this section of track, but he's missed the apex by an absolute mile there, just about keeps it out of the wall. And that has given me renewed encouragement that maybe this is going to be the lap that I'm able to execute a pass on him. I'm just within a couple of tenths here as we barrel down the back straight, getting ready for the third sector of the lap. And of course I'm thinking ahead to how can I get close to him, either to execute a pass into the hairpin or at the very least to make sure I'm close enough into T1. He is a little bit all over the place there, and I get checked up again, and that is unfortunate because it's going to cost me momentum into the braking zone of the hairpin. And well, I might be close enough to put some pressure into T1, but ideally I'd like to be a bit closer on the exit of the hairpin. We cross the start-finish line then to begin another lap, still in P8, still chasing Miho Nurminen. I'm not looking like I'm going to be close enough to force a move into T1, so again then, it's going to be about putting pressure on through the course of the next lap. He is once again slightly wide through that corner. He clips the barrier on the outside. Don't know if he is picking up damage through some of these moves here. I am just keeping very vigilant behind. I'm aware that if he makes a mistake and I'm following too close, I'll have nowhere to go and my race could be over just as easily as his could be. So this is a really fine balancing act, a judgment really as to just how close you want to get, how much pressure you want to put on, so that you're right there in order to take advantage of any mistakes that take place, but at the same time you're not putting yourself in unnecessary danger that you yourself will end up getting caught out if the worst happens and if Nurminen were to spin. On the back straight once again then, and I have actually fallen back just a little bit, and this is a worry because I don't think I'm going to be close enough again heading into the hairpin. Let's see what happens then as we get through this quite tricky section through the stadium. Again he's slow on the left hand side there, and again I get slightly checked up. Can I get a better run through the hairpin? It looks as if I am closer than I was last time around. All the while, by the way, as I'm being held up, the drivers up ahead are bombing on down the road. I am losing touch with the rest of the top 6 here as we get on to lap 6, and I'm not sure I'm going to be close enough again. You know, I'm definitely closer than I was. I'm putting the pressure on, but I'm not going to be able to get alongside him as once again we hit the apex. Nurminen is loose through the corner, lots of tyre smoke, and we do collide. I can't believe it. I really didn't have anywhere to go there as he lost the rear end. I was hoping he would slide across the track, but actually I think he's held his brakes there, which of course is something you are meant to do, but it's meant that he's ended up coming to a halt just about on the racing line. I couldn't safely get closer to the barrier, and I have picked up a bit of front wing damage there. Thankfully not enough for a meatball flag, and I was also going to get another bit of good luck. This is the P2 driver Brewer, and he was running very well until he made just a small mistake, carrying too much speed through the end of the lap, and he clashed the barrier, and that was enough to secure him a meatball flag, and that would put me up into P6 by the end of this race. As we round the hairpin for the final time, I had enough of a gap and enough pace in free air in order to not come under any threat for that 6th position, and we end up crossing the finish line to get a pretty good finish. Now, our safety rating has taken a bit of a hit, but we've got another nice bump to my Formula I rating, which of course benefited from those fantastic races in the IndyCar at Laguna Seca just a couple of weeks ago. What a thrilling experience in VR this combination was. But was it thrilling to watch? I need your help to understand what works for you as viewers of the channel when it comes to VR footage. So please do let me know what you think in the comments. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. I really value your feedback. And in the meantime, I will see you on the next one.